Welcome everybody to yet another webinar. Today we're going to discuss the second part of growing fantastic petunias. Our speaker again is our very knowledgeable and technical Ivan Posniakov. We sometimes call him the flower whisperer because he is really able to talk to the plants and hear what they feel, think, and especially what they need. So sit tight for yet another great webinar. Ivan, floor is yours.
Thank you, Michael, for this nice and unusual introduction. Today's like poetry. Here's like poetry, and yeah, I also would like to say welcome to everybody who is joined our webinar, and I would like to say thank you for your time, for your interest, and please. Let's get started with our slides. And today we will talk about the second part of the Petunia production schedule, about the growing on of the nice plants, how to produce already blooming plants from the young plant. And let's start to recognize when we have to transplant our young plants into the ready pots. And here I would like to make some recap on the session that and on the topic that we considered, and we go through previous session of the Petunia webinar. And initially we started as usual with our fantastic assortment, and as per my feelings, it's a really huge assortment and really interesting and unique assortment because
Ivan,
here.
please start sharing your screen.
Yes, yes, Michael.
Please start sharing your screen.
Again? Okay. I
Yes.
already shared. Let me
No, you're not.
see.
There
No.
we go.
Okay.
Yes.
Something strange today with the
No
Zoom.
worries.
Yeah.
There we
And
go. Thanks.
okay, let's continue. Honestly, I'm not sure I displayed introduction page with a very nice vein Petunia, but it is okay. We continue from this first slide. And as I mentioned formerly, we touched in the beginning of previous session our fantastic assortment with a really huge assortment with a many interesting and many fantastic varieties which also called like masterpiece, because here you can find any kind of petunias you can apply in a different kind of ways, from a compact till trailing petunia, from a mixes until very specific and very special color range and the color patterns. And later on, we will start to talk about the germination stage. Of course, there we mentioned the petunia not need to cover their seeds because they require light for germination. And we mentioned one of the famous topic for the one of the most critical topic for the petunia is a pH. And later on, we turn to feeding. And to mineral feed of the petunia, and of course we touched uh, any kind of topics about the fertigation, because this is a quite significant topics, how to apply fertilizer, how to recalculate recommendation to the from the ppm to milligrams. And of course we talked about general condition, how to produce the young plants and how to achieve the success with the young plants, and how to receive very beautiful and very compact young plants to start precisely and start successfully with the ready plants production. And of course, I not forget to mention about the quarantine again, because this is a pain point, and this is this topic which can be 50% of your successful production activity. And let's start with the timing and with the moment when we should transplant our plants. And before that, I would like to mention 5 successful topics. If you care about that topics, and if you pay a lot of attention to that topics, you always will be successful with your petunias, and you always will receive a great plant habit of your and blooming of your plants. And of course, when to transplant, this is the first topic. You need to know precisely the moment then the plant should be transplanted into the ready pots, because if you overgrow the young plants, if your plants will start to stretch, of course it will affect on the plant quality later. Of course, pH is also significant and a very critical topic even in the ready plant stage. And boron, as because we get in more and bigger plant within through a weeks, through a growing process, plants receive plants should receive more fertilizer. And in this kind of condition, any kind of a deficiency more sensitive and more um, critical for the plants. And of course, we will talk about day length, because biologically petunia is a long day crops, so it means it start to bloom in a long day condition. But we have a secret behind of our assortment, behind of our varieties and series, and I will tell that secret for you. So not be afraid about the day length and sensitivity of Syngenta petunias. And of course, we will touch phytosanitary in the end of this session of I will not forget about that, and I will remind you as well. And another critical topic, be careful with some kind of PGRs on petunia. This is not common question, and this is not a common topic that many growers hearing from the breeders, but petunia sensitive to some of the PGRs. And let's start with a moment when we have to transplant. Here you can see the 2 types of petunia grown in a different size of trays. Left one is a little bit bigger one, and right one is a bit smaller. And here you can see approximately the same stage of the plant development. It takes about it give about the 8 till 11, maybe 12 leaves on each plant. But here you can see the difference in the root development and the plant development. In the right picture, you can see that this plant is mostly ready to transplanting, and it is mostly taken in time to transplanting. But right one, it's little bit postponed with transplanting, because you can see the root development too strong for this stage of petunia. So try to avoid this kind of situation, because if you missed maybe more 2 or 3 days, petunias start to be stretched. And this kind of development will affect on the plant development after transplanting. Stretched plant also became more weak and more sensitive to any kind of condition, and of course to diseases. So that's why try to avoid overgrowth in a trace, and please take care on the root development, because if you receive the plant with the root displayed on the left picture, it means it's a things you already a little bit late with the transplanting. And now we recognized and we understand when the plant should be transplanted. And let's go to the pot size and to the conditions where we need to be put the plants for the normal growth and for the how to say it, successful development after transplanting. Here you can see the plant petunias able to grow quite fast. The difference between these pictures, left and right, just only 2 weeks, and you see how plant developed fast. In the left picture, you can see the plants transplanted maybe about 4 days ago, before picture was taken. In the right picture, you see already plant start to show flower bud and already started to open the first flowers. So provide the proper pot size to avoid overgrowth and to avoid the stretching of the overstretching of the plant stems. And on the next slide, you will see the entire table where I displayed all varieties with a proper pot size. Why I send a special accent and and why I focusing on the pot size, because plant habit very depends on available space. So you need to provide enough space for petunia, and keep in mind that petunia it well-grown crop, it fast-grown crop. The average time of petunia takes about maybe only 5, sometimes even 4 weeks from transplanting stage up to ready stage. So that's why you need to provide a normal space, efficient space for the plant to let them develop well. And let's go to the table. I wouldn't touch too many. I wouldn't spend too many times for this table. You can use that table for reference to understand what kind of container you have to use for each variety. And I would like to mention only one topics here. Please look at the assortment, and here you will see in the upper side of this table you can find more smaller varieties, especially like picabella. In each species. In upper side you will see bit compact varieties, which mostly suitable for packs and large packs and small pot size. And the lower part, mostly the taken, especially here you can see flash forward, photo finish, hangout, it more vigor varieties, which requires more space. And so for that crops, for this kind of series, packs and large packs is not enough to develop well. And let's go to the most significant and most critical items when we're talking about the transplanting is the substrate. And of course, we start to talk about the pH. And firstly, let give me explain about this substrate quality, about substrate components. There are many different type of different components we able to apply for petunia. And petunia is a very flexible crop, which not ask very specific substrate and not requires very specific a condition when we're talking about the substrate. As because there are many different kind of components, substrate components are available in the market, we can consider, and I would like to advise, we can consider the most valuable, or may to say most comfortable for petunia type of substrate. That is substrate based on the coco peat, peat moss, wood fiber peat, and rice husk. It is how to say it, very broad assortment of a substrate, because some crop requires in general peat moss, which is especially sensitive for to substrate quality, like a gerbera, for instance. But Petunia is a more flexible crop, and it is okay if you apply for Petunia, coco peat, and peat moss, and mix of that kind of substrate. And of course, I would like to pay attention on the rice husk. It is very nice. It is very nice component of the substrate because rice husk has a quite low pH. So it doesn't matter what kind of substrate or component of substrate you will apply for Petunia, but let's concentrate on focus your attention on the pH, and please measure pH in the substrate before you take or before you will decide to take any kind of substrate. If you see too high pH, you need to or discard this kind of substrate or adjust the pH in this substrate by the low pH water application. So you able to leverage pH of substrate by water by how to say it filling this kind of substrate by with the water with a low pH. And of course rinse coco peat well, because coco peat sometimes can contain excess of the sodium, and the sodium is very critical for Petunia because sodium it is ion which able to increase pH quite fast, sometimes dramatically fast. And so that's why be confident that coco peat was rinsed properly. And when we talk about the aeration of the substrate, aeration is also quite critical, not so critical, but also critical for Petunia. It is possible to apply different type of airy agents like a perlite, sand, zeolite, and vermiculate. I just would like to advise try to avoid apply vermiculate because sometimes it can has quite high pH. So that's why the perlite and the sand is the best airy component, airy agent which can be added into the substrate. And Petunia requires about 25, 30 up to 30% of the airy agents. And what's about other combination of the and about other components, because some growers, especially in South Asia, in Southeast Asia, prefer to use natural soil or vermicompost in the substrate. That is also okay for Petunia, but not forget about make substrate more porous, more aerable, and apply proper quantity, about 20-25% of the perlite, or it is possible even to use cocoa chips, because cocoa chips can be used as a at the same time as a drainage layer in the bottom of the pot, especially if you use so heavy substrate like natural soils. And it also can be added instead of the perlite. It's made to say the one tricks which possible for Petunia. Not all crops can handle this type of substrate, but Petunia it is okay because it's a quite flexible crop. And of course, whatever substrate you will use, not forget about the pH. pH should be below 5.8. And let's start to go through other condition. And finally, we transplanted the Petunia in the nice substrate, and we start to provide proper and we're starting to provide the proper condition for Petunia. We already talked about the pH in the substrate. In the water, we should apply and we should provide the same pH level. I advise to use as low the pH in the water as lower as possible. I mean, the closer to lower part of the range, like 5.5, because in general, in the practice, we have different type of substrate which has pH in the level higher than 5.6, 5.8. So that's why low pH water application, it can be supplemental to this pH level in the water, in the substrate. And before you or right after you transplant the plants into the substrate mixture, keep substrate and water substrate up to the level 4. Level 4, it means you can recognize this level. If you look at the substrate, it should be dark brown color. It shouldn't be too much glittering. So it means free water shouldn't be on the top of the substrate. And if you squeeze this type of substrate, you will see after squeezing, water is quite easily trickling down. But water is not trickling down before you start to squeeze the some part of the substrate. And let's start with the other condition. On this stage, Petunia already requires to receive a temperature difference between day and night. And some regions can be happy because Petunia, as you can see here, can handle even quite low temperature. And even if you in the region which has in the night time a lower temperature, they can be also happy because these type of difference between day and night temperature, like 5 degrees, 6 degrees, can be beneficial for the plant and can help you to provide and to get a more compact plant. So in this kind of condition, you not need to apply too much PGRs, because this type of difference, this range of difference between day and night temperature provide bit more compact, provide more compactness of the plant. And of course, Petunia is a crop which can called light lover because it requires about 40-60 kilolux on the plant surface. So it means Petunia not requires too much shading to produce a nice blooming and uh, dense plants. So that's why I don't I don't want to advise to provide too much shading for Petunia. And of course, Petunia very like to get proper quantity of food. They made to say food lover as well. And here you can see substrate AC already should be on the level 1.5, even 2.1. It's honestly, it's quite high. The same level of a substrate of the EC in the substrate should be provided even for mums, because mums, it's well-known food lover among the other crops. So Petunia like the mineral food as well. And here you can see I advise to provide 125 or even 175 ppm of nitrogen, which can be provided approximately with 1.5, 1.7 grams per liter of of NPK, of mineral fertilizer. And of course, please don't apply too much phosphorus, because phosphorus is one of the critical condition which affects on the boron efficiency or boron deficiency. With a high phosphorus, you can receive boron deficiency quite easily. So that's why don't play too much with the fertilizer which has a too high phosphorus concentration. And of course, today we will talk about the boron deficiency. Here I provided two pictures. One I taken from the previous session, and the second, which is in behind, I take this is a new picture. Here you can see the two how to say it, very very nice very nice picture which can explain how looks like boron deficiency, because for some growers it's difficult to recognize boron deficiency. They can observe the plant start to slowing down, and they sometimes cannot understand what happened in the substrate, maybe, or maybe with the plant, what's wrong with the plant. But honestly, here you can see the two type of the things or symptoms of the boron deficiency. One is a compactness. Plant leaves stretch less than normally, and the growth little bit depressed. And on the more right picture, you can see even that leaves start to curling a little bit, and the edge of the leaf shows quite visible chlorosis. And these kind of symptoms can tell you plant really needs in boron. And what kind of factors affect? Again, I would like to repeat that what kind of factors affecting the boron efficiency. Of course, it is pH. And in the middle picture, for organic soil, because honestly, we operate in general with organic soil based on the peat, based on the coco peat. And here you can see the boron mostly soluble, very easily soluble, with a pH between 4.5 up to 6. And more may to say, the more preferable pH, it's about the 5.5. In this kind of pH in organic soil, more available for the plant and more soluble in the water. And so that's why pH also plays too high role, especially in the boron efficiency or boron deficiency. Not apply too much phosphorus. I already mentioned that, because phosphorus can provide a lower pH as well, and the phosphorus can be compete with the boron when the plant uptake that elements. Another factor is calcium concentration. Another next factor is the temperature. Temperature shouldn't be too low. If you see the temperature drop below the 14 degrees, please, and especially in the daytime, if the temperature not rise up to 15 or 17 degrees, provide additional boron, like a by the boron acid, or some kind of boron chemicals which contains, or micro element which contains a boron. Please provide additional boron to the plants. And of course, substrate type. Boron, I made to say it is difficult to find boron deficiency in the mineral substrate, because in most of the mineral substrate, boron provided in more high concentration than in organic substrate. In general, more poor in boron than mineral substrate. So that's why sometimes the natural soil application can be supplemental and can be beneficial, especially in the terms of the mineral food which should be provided to the plants. And of course, again, don't use too high phosphorus, like it displayed in the bottom of this text. This kind of range of like a 15 15 15, it's in general shouldn't be applicable. So please provide the fertilizer with a phosphorus with a more low concentration of all the phosphorus, like 5 or 3. And let's go to the another topic. Here I would like to send you a message about how what you should do to provide a plant in a fertilizer properly, to provide how to say, to avoid any kind of mistakes. So this is a in how to say it, as can I see, it's not so long. It's not so long a list of the rules. This is common rules I mostly advise when you apply the mineral fertilizer to the plant. Give fertilizer with every watering. Not use too high phosphorus like I displayed in this list. Never use the urea because some growers can follow up a recommendation for the outdoor vegetable crops and apply sometimes the urea for the plants. Uh, it's not applicable because urea in the soil can provide dramatically a high pH, and the pH can rise quite fast after maybe 1 or 2 hours after you apply the urea. Not use a clean water. This kind of advice also corresponding to the my thirst advice. Give the fertilizer with every watering. So no one water with clean water should be applied to the plants. And what is a suitable NPK range? Here I provide a few different kind of examples how where you can see what I meant when I talked about low phosphorus and about the proper NPK range. Here you can see this example like 15 5 15 or 18 5 15 or 17 5 17. Here you can see the difference. The phosphorus should be in about the 3 times lower concentration than nitrogen and potassium. What's mean when I talked about low phosphorus? And of course, if you see the flower bud it appears in the top of the stems, it means it's time to change NPK range. And here I would like to offer some kind of a different type of NPK range for generative stage, because plant go through vegetative, and later on when then it shows a flower bud, it's turned to generative stage. In generative stage, plant consume more potassium than nitrogen, and here I provide some kind of receipt or some kind of NPK ranges which which provide for the plant enough quantity of potassium, enough to produce as much flowers as possible as plant able to produce, and to create more attractive plants in the final stage. These kind of examples, it's like 15 5 25, 15 5 30, or 75 40. So here you can see the quantity of the rate between nitrogen and potassium. It's about 1 to 2. So 1 part of nitrogen and per 2 part of potassium. This is not straight rules. You can apply a little bit lower or higher concentration of potassium is not critical, but the average rate should be like 1 per 2. And let's go to the entire picture of the fertilizer application. Here I show you example of watering and what kind of fertilizer should be applied to the plants. And here you can see the table. It displays scheduling of the schedule of the watering. And here I show what kind of fertilizer should be applied with each watering. And this is an example what the rate of what the concentration of the fertilizer should be added to the water. Here you can see different type of fertilizer, and here you can see the time when you need approximately when you need to switch from vegetative NPK range to generative. Normally, Petunia starts to form in flower buds in week 5, between week 5 and 6. So that's why I reflected into this table. And please not forget to apply calcium and magnesium, because in general, NPK fertilizer mostly in general they has a deficiency of the calcium and magnesium in the composition. So that's why don't forget to provide additional calcium and magnesium fertilizer every fifth of every sixth watering. Not provided too often, not every third or fourth watering, because calcium and magnesium, excess of calcium and magnesium, able to increase pH. So that's why be careful about, in one hand, we should provide the calcium. In other hands, we shouldn't provide it too oftenly, because the Petunia sensitive, as I explained it formerly, is sensitive to high pH. But calcium, as because this is a alkaline element, it can increase pH, and it can bring some kind of problem like kind of boron or iron deficiency to Petunia. So that's why I not advise to use very frequently calcium or magnesium salts as a fertilizer. And it more it can be more efficient to provide calcium nitrate and magnesium nitrate as a fertilizer which contains calcium and magnesium. And of course, I would like to talk about checking what you're doing when you apply fertilizer. Sometime grower asked me when we have to measure pH and EC in the water or in the substrate. I want to tell you very openly. Or you should know what kind of EC and pH you provide to the plants, and you should know how they accept and uh, how they absorb EC and what kind of pH you receive in the substrate. So it means you should measure EC and pH in the both on the both stage, on the both situation, in the water before you apply to the plant, and in the substrate approximately a half of hour after you applied watering after you applied watering solution. And here you can see I advise taste the soup before you show to your before you taste soup before you offer to your guests, and taste soup before plants show you they hungry. And as because plant cannot tell you what kind of element in the deficiency, how delicious your soup you provide to the plants. So that's why measure soup before measure the water solution before you provide that to the plants, and check the pH and EC in the substrate. The most suitable time when you should measure and when you must measure pH and EC in the substrate, it is about between half of hour and 1.5 hour. When you apply the water for the plants, wait about half of hour, and after that, after the half of hour expired, you have measure pH or directly into the substrate, or I advise to use a saturated media extract, as you can see in the picture, in the small picture with the pH measurement tool. Substrate saturated media extract normally prepared with one part of the substrate and 1.5 part of the distillated water. It's necessary to mix in the glass or in the jar with the water. again, one part of volume of the substrate volume per 1.5 part of the water. And after 5, maybe 3 minutes, you're able to measure pH, and you will know what kind of pH and EC in the substrate. So let's go to the day to the effects of the day length. As because most of the Petunia and the biological Petunia is a facultative or a long day crop, and they mostly prefer to produce flowers in a long day condition. You can consider that Petunia requires additional artificial light to make to produce a flower in the proper quantity, or in a to be covered plenty with the flowers and to produce a nice flower bouquet with your plants. So that's why we need to keep in mind just only two things. Most of Syngenta petunias are day neutral or just only facultative long day. What means facultative long day? I will explain in the next slide. But about the day neutrality and long day, may to say, habit of Petunia, I want to advise to apply Petunia in a proper time of the year. You can use the natural long day performance. For instance, I would like to offer you a graph of the day length diagram, or graph or diagram for which created for New Delhi. And here you can see the day length. The more light part of this diagram is the daytime. More dark part, dark colored, is a nighttime. And here you can see also the morning and the evening twilights in between. And here you can see the proper time marked like a green green frame to produce petunias. So according to this diagram, you can see you're able to start sow petunia in the June, to make a sowing process in a June, and continue with petunia up to October. In October, in the end of October and the mid of November, you're able to receive the plants in full blooming, because plants start to produce flowers in general on the week 5, 6 from the sowing stage. This time will match about the September. And here you can see in the diagram, in September, we still have day longer than 10 hours. Sorry, longer than 12 hours. So that's why this is the best time to produce in this region. And also you can find this diagram in the internet, and you can also find the proper time for each location, in your location especially. Yeah, and you can recognize the better time when you're able to produce a petunia. And of course, we need to keep in mind about the temperature, daily temperature. And when you for instance, for the daily, the most comfortable temperature to produce a petunia is it start in June, because in April and May this area gets too high temperature. At the same time, they get too high level of the rains and too humidity time. So that's why if we combine the data from the temperature and the day length, we can create better scheduling for the petunias. And here I would like to explain what I meant when I talked about facultative long day. Here you can see reaction. This picture taken after the specifically organized experiment. Plants were grown under the different day length condition. Here you can see 8.5, I mean, it means short day condition. 10.5, it's also short day condition. 11.5, it's already long day condition. And 13.5, it's extremely long day condition. But it doesn't matter what kind of condition you get in your location. It will affect if we're talking about a facultative long day plants. It means plant anyway will bloom, but in the short day condition, it takes a bit longer time for the blooming. So that's a secret on behind of the genetic of Syngenta Petunia's genetic. Most of variety belongs to natural or facultative long day. So anyway, you will receive blooming plants, but day length will affect just only on the vegetation time. So on the time requires to produce blooming plants. So let's go to the another slides, and there I will show you a diagram. It's created. I need to tell what's shown here. In the bottom rays, you can see in the bottom arrow, you can see the difference with the earliness from semi-late, then standard, semi-early, early, and very early varieties. In the may to say Y range, you can see the compactness of the plants from the compact to vigorous, and the size of each circle, or size of each area which belongs to a particular variety. It depends on the how many varieties in this series. For instance, here you can see the Tritunia has a bigger size of the circle, because it has about 32 separate colors, and Skybox has just only one color. It's a outstanding color in outstanding series. It's made outstanding variety, and I kept all varieties depends on their earliness and depends on their compactness. And here you can see most of the crop belongs to early and very early varieties. And for instance, you can use this diagram to understand what kind of variety is more suitable for your region. If you have a lot of short days or long period with the short days, it's better to take such series like a Prism or Picabella or Espresso Grande. If you have maybe average day length, like for some tropical regions, like in Malaysia or like in the highland in Vietnam, you can take most of the crops which belongs to semi-early and early crops, like Hangout, Duvet, Damask, Tritunia. Or if you has a long day condition in your region, and or specifically for long day period, you can choose such nice series like Hura, Espresso, and the Frost. And here also you can recognize how tall the crop, or how vigorous, how vigor each series. And let's go to the next topic. We mostly finished with the day length response of the Petunia, and I think this diagram will help you to choose proper variety. And let's go about PGR application. I already mentioned many times, please try to apply this kind of approach, like a difference between day and night, and to provide a high level of the fertilizer, because By the way, high level of the fertilizer provides more compact plant. So that's why I advise to use a EC like 1.7, 2.2, 2.0, or even 2.5 for Petunia, which help plants to become more compact. But in some condition, it's not able to control the plants too effectively, especially when you have a very low level of the light and at the same time quite high temperature, especially in the rainy season when the plant not able to transpirate too much water. And sometimes it's necessary to apply the PGRs. But be careful to apply some PGRs like a B9. And here you can see reaction of the plant on the different kind of treatments. This experiment made specifically to show reaction of the Petunia on the different type of treatment. Here you can see the control variant with no how to say it, no with no any treatments given to the plants. The middle part of the middle picture display the pinching applied for Petunia, and the right picture display plants which receive benign application in the level of 2000 ppm. And here we can see how it affects strongly on the flower color pattern, and how it affects on the flower size and flower shape. So that's why I advise not apply benign on Petunia, especially after later than 1 or 2 weeks after transplanting, because as you seen in a former slides, you're able to see how faster Petunia produce a first flower. So that's why I advise to use B9 if it necessary, if it really necessary, only on the seedling stage or only on the first week after transplanting. And of course, you're able to use a bonsai or bonsai in a drainage to provide a more compactness of the plant. But the best practice is to apply difference between day and night temperature, and to provide the plants with normal quantity of fertilizer. With in the water, the normal quantity I means 1.7 or 2.2, 2.3. And let's go to the Petunia disease management. Petunia not sensitive to many diseases, just only a few diseases can injure quite strongly Petunia. Of course, botrytis, but botrytis mostly appears in more in a humid condition, or when the plants already develop too strong, or apply too less fertilizer, or a grower applied too much nitrogen. So botrytis is not really it can be a dangerous disease for the plants, but only in a specific only in inappropriate condition. Rhizoctonia also can damage the plant quite strongly, but most critical disease is powdery mildew. Powdery mildew can come when the plant receives some drops of the water in the surface of their leaves, and the powdery mildew come when with the too high difference between day and night temperature, and too high difference between the humidity, especially if the plant receives high humidity in the nighttime and the low humidity in the daytime. In this condition, you can suddenly find the spots of the powdery mildew on the surface of the leaves. So that's why I advise to scout the plant very properly, to find or to provide the proper condition, to try to avoid any kind of droplets which can came on the surface of the leaves. And of course, I provide some different type of active ingredients. This is a critical. This can be helpful for one critical things, to rotate active ingredients during the growing period. Because if you apply all the time the same active ingredients to avoid any kind or to overcome any kind of diseases, you will produce, you will help for to fungus or to any kind of germs to rise uh, the resistance against this specific kind of active ingredient. And of course, check phytotoxicity if you would like to apply the new for you or the new for the plants active ingredients. And let's go to the another kind of protection. The bioprotection is it's a best practice because bioprotection will help you to avoid resistance against to any kind of chemicals. I mean the resistance of the fungus, which cause of the disease, which can be cause of the diseases, and also some kind of bacterial base chemicals, biochemicals. Can be applied together with the fungicides, with the chemical fungicides. That's why it is best practice, which able to avoid resistance against the specific chemicals. And of course, don't forget to manage well the Petunia pests and the diseases can care by pests, especially the virus disease is quite critical to petunias. And here I provide a few different kind of examples which can apply against especially aphids, because aphids it's it's more common vector which can carry different type of viruses from one plant to another, especially between the different members of Solanaceae family. And of course, Petunia belongs to Solanaceae family. So that's why the presence of the weeds absolutely unacceptable in the greenhouse. So that's why please pay a lot of attention to avoid these kind of weeds in your greenhouses or in areas surrounding your greenhouses. And let me remind you about the quarantine and about phytosanitary. Mind the gap and provide the gap between the greenhouse ground or surface and the plants. This is best way how interrupt transferring the bacterial and fungus from the how to say the surface of the ground on the bottom of the greenhouse and the plants. And of course, follow up the good practice, the quarantine practice. So it means avoid transit from the greenhouse, avoid combine the ready plants and the small plants in the greenhouse, avoid entrance appropriate entrance to the greenhouse. If some persons not involved in the production process, don't allow that person to go to that greenhouse, to enter to that greenhouse. And we already go take a quite long journey through a Petunia production. I would like to say thank you very much, and thank you for your patience to hear all that topics with which concern into successful growth of Petunia. And here I would like to send the stage to Michael, and maybe we have maybe he can tell we have some kind of questions that came from the Q&A box.
Thank you, Ivan. Again, a very strong story, very complete. Currently, there are no questions in the chat, but if you want, feel free to post a question using the Q&A button at the bottom. And if not, we will share the presentation and slide deck afterwards. So you can always reach out to Ivan or one of his colleagues. For now, I think we can conclude at the top of the hour. So Ivan, thanks again for an excellent presentation, and I wish everybody a very floriferous day. Goodbye.
Thank you, Michael. Goodbye.